How gullible do you think you are? According to science, about a third of our experiences are shaped by something called a placebo. The power of placebo in our mind is so strong that it actually induces effects onto our bodies. It's like we're watching a magic show and we know it's not real, but part of us thinks it is. And that's something that Henry Beecher in the 1950s saw potential of. Placebos are the magic that our brain performs to make us believe. So what does that mean for our health? In The Powerful Placebo of 1950, he concluded that placebos are powerful therapeutic agents that deserve more study. Today, we're going to dissect what placebos are, their efficacy, and the ways that they can be applied. And what exactly is a placebo? Well, we should think about them as the Tinkerbell effect, something that goes beyond just belief. Because the power of the placebo was defined by Harvard Health as something that goes beyond mere belief, because it's a connection between our mind and our body. And Beecher's analysis actually found a correlation between placebos and pain relief. And he concluded that placebos are a psychological tool that provide clarification and actual health benefits. When comparing agents to like salicylic acid and morphine with codeine and an actual placebo pill, they found similar pain reduction rates. This highlights the potential of placebos at pain relieving. And another bit of important information is how subjective symptoms were 30% more likely to be affected than objective symptoms, which first hinted at a connection between personalities and efficacy, but this is not very well understood even today. And Beecher's findings are supported even by modern data today. Another similarly sized study published in the Applied Psychology, Health and Wellbeing Journal, where they study the effects of placebo on exercise and different measures of health, concluded G-values, which is a measure of the magnitude of effects of improvements related to the placebo for like self-esteem and cardiorespiratory fitness, to be at 0.4 and 0.2. And also results for Cohen's D measure, which refers to the difference between total calculated effects for a positive idea of exercise, which is the placebo in this case, and then also actual exercise, to be at 0.2 and 0.3. This data actually supports Beecher's claim that subjective symptoms are more affected by placebos than objective symptoms. However, on the other hand, placebos can also have negative effects like headaches in around 10% of our cases and nausea in around 50% of cases. And interestingly, 17% of objective symptoms of anxiety were less affected compared to 30%, raising the question of why certain conditions are more sensitive to the placebo. And the medical community actually tried their best at answering this question in the National Library of Medicine. They conducted another meta-analysis and concluded that migraines, joints, and joint pain and depression were common diseases that were more sensitive to the placebo. However, they also found that current technologies are lacking to fully understand the mind-to-body connection mechanism of a placebo. However, they did provide us with a definition for the negative effects of placebos, which is called nocebos, funny enough. So if it's good and bad, what are some ways that they could be applied? Henry Beecher claimed that placebos were a psychological instrument capable of removing bias and provide clarification for mechanisms of action for the way that it could work. In other words, think of conducting your own scientific experiment. It's double-blind and you're doing placebo testing. If patients are both unaware and providers are both unaware of what treatment they're being provided, it removes expectation bias and produces randomization that yield objective results. But using it therapeutically may be wrong, as Harvard warns placebos won't cure you and they're ethically questionable because it takes away a patient's autonomy over their care. But it's a fantastic research tool. Furthermore, the current opinion of placebos, according to a study by Dr. Moninga, is that the drug fixes the symptoms, but the actual placebo just fixes your perception of symptoms. And this was in the Placebo Effect in 2023. They describe placebo effects as requiring a delicate balance of ethical responsibility and to avoid using it as a therapeutic agent. However, in a study called The Powerless Placebo by Hapyarson and Gorshi reveals that there were some mixed outcomes. They concluded no correlation between improving symptoms and placebos in over 114 studies, 32 of which were binary, so meaning placebo and then no placebo effects, and then 82 were complex. However, 27 actually showed a reduction of pain of 6.2 millimeters on the VAS scale, which is a pain scale of the happy faces and like the sad faces. This challenges the notion that placebos are powerful. And in another study called the Study Conditioned Placebo Effect Dose Reduction, a new ADHD treatment by Dr. Sandler, they found that after reducing ADHD medication by 50% and providing a filler placebo, ADHD symptoms remained the same, which highlights the complex relationships between placebos and healing, which continues to puzzle the medical community. In conclusion, today I hope you agree with me that Henry Beecher's objective in The Powerful Placebo of 1955 was to emphasize that the placebo treatments are powerful therapeutic agents that deserve more study. Its efficacy and applications and placebo effects is not just about tricking your mind, it's about the complex interplay that our body and our mind has on healing.